During this section of the training guide, we're going to take a look at creating parking lots. Parking lots can be quite complex in geometry and have varying slopes and configurations. So what we want to do is try to kind of take you through a process of how we look at parking lots and how we attempt to grade those. And how we try to simplify that process. So what you're going to notice here is we're going to do the parking lot in kind of two main steps. First thing we're going to do is create a temporary grading object. It's basically an object that's not going to be part of the model, but it is going to be a useful object. It's going to have the appropriate grading slopes to it that we want for our parking lot, and we're going to try to use a few elements to define that surface, and then the more complex geometry of the parking lot elements and all the islands and so forth, we'll do that second, and by giving them elevation based on this temporary surface that we're creating. So the only reason we call it temp is that it's not part of the model. It's not a temporary surface that we delete later on. We'll always have it in our project. It just will never be part of this particular model. So what we're going to do here is staying within our same design file, and in our training guide at page 1-33 we're going to create the temp object. So that'll take us through 134 when we're done. So in my design file, I'm going to kind of determine visually a zoom in on the parking lot there, and we have, you can see the parking lot geometry. It's somewhat complex. We have a general idea of how we want to slope. What I want to do is I want to slope from the edge of pavement along the entrance road back toward the back of the parking lot and up. So the parking lot basically just drains to the front, and it's going to follow the slope or profile of the road at its cross slope going this way. So you can see that my roadway drains from a high point in the middle back at 0.5% to the right and 0.5% to the left. So my parking lot will do the same. I want a 0.5% slope to each end, and I'll collect the water in each bay and send it off. So I have a level turned off. I'm going to turn it back on, called DES Construction Elements. So I'll highlight that. And what you'll notice is there's two lines. There's a green line up along the road, dashed, and there's a green line, in this case, back behind the parking lot. I drew the green line up near the road, right near the edge of pavement of the main road, but not quite on the edge, just a little bit off. Far enough off that we could pick it with ease, and that's gonna pick up the elevation close enough to the road edge of pavement of the roadway elevation that I want to start from. So in Modeler, I'm going to create a new object, object new, and I'm going to call this a construction type, which will pick up the name Temp1. I can add it to the model, which means I'll have to take it out later, or I can turn that off. It doesn't really matter at this point. So now I have that object. I'm going to go Modeler, Elements, New, and I'm going to assign the elevation to this first green line by draping it on the entrance road. I don't want to change the elevation, so I'm not going to offset height, and I want it to follow the entrance road, so I'm going to say entire element. So it's just like laying a string along the ground. It's just going to follow the surface of the pavement there. I want it to remember the fact that it gets its elevation from the entrance road, so if I do make some grading changes to my entrance road, the parking lot will kind of stay with it. I'm going to select the element using the Select Elements tool and click Apply, and that creates the line. Now I'm going to zoom back out to the back of the parking lot. I want to slope from the front of the parking lot nearest the roadway up and back at a plus 2%. So I'm going to change my percent to 2. And projection option, again, will be entire element. And again, I'm going to have use reference element association. So this green line along the back is going to be associated with the green line along the front, which is in turn associated with the entrance road. So I'll select the element that I'm going to slope to. That's the back. So I select that. And then the reference element. And so I'm going to hit select reference. I'm going to select that green line. Once it's highlighted, I data point again or left click. That accepts it. And then I click apply, and it slopes and creates it. I can see it says site elements complete there. So turn my display on, and indeed I see my parking lot or temp surface created. So that kind of defines the basic slope that I want in my parking lot, and I can see that all the edges of pavement, I'm just simply going to project those onto this temporary surface, and the grade between them will fall out as desired, 2% from back to front and 0.5% left and right.